Hi, I'm Michael Schumacher from Metal Roofing Online. Today I'm going to be installing the Trimdek, the Lysart's Trimdek sheets onto a 5-degree roof pitch. Now these Trimdek sheets can go down to as little as a 2-degree roof pitch, which is a good idea to use these instead of say corrugated, because once you've turned the end of the sheets down and the top end of the sheets up, they can handle a lot lower roof pitch than the corrugated can. Okay, to get started, you really want to work out how far your rib is from the end. So I'm just going to take some measurements and see where the last sheet's going to finish, which will help guide us on where we want to start the sheet off. The cover width of each sheet is 762 millimeters from the center of the overlap to the center of the underlap. So if I just mark 762, we've got about 430 mil left at the end there, so I'll just see how that's going to finish. Center of that, so 430 mil about there. So we might just start off slightly more that way, and we should finish about the same distance with the rib on the last one. With these Trimdek sheets, it's the same as the corrugated. You want to aim for about 50 or 60 mil past the fascia and into the gutter, about 50 or 60 mil. That's quite important. So if we make sure that side's straight, it should be quite straight with the fascia, and that bit's into the gutter the right amount, then we can put our first screw in. These screws for the Trimdek, I usually use the 12 by 65s. On the corrugated we usually use the 50 mil, but because the rib's a little bit higher on the Trimdek, we go for the longer screw. Okay, now I'll hop up there and then I'll get the boys to pass me the rest of the sheets. So I'll just mark the center of the battens so I know when I lay the next sheet, I know where the center of that batten is to put a screw in. Thank you. I'll just grab it that way because I've got to spin it around. Thank you. We'll grab a couple more as well, just plonk them on the end there for us. Thanks guys. Okay, so this is the overlap sheet and that's the underlap. Don't get them around the wrong way. Hey Helen. Good mate. Now I've used a different coloured screw to the sheets. Usually you use the same colour, but I didn't have any at that colour, so. Thanks, Michael. Now before I lay this sheet here, because we're about halfway, I'll just take a measurement to the end to make sure we're not running out of square. Could you just grab a hold of that, Jack, please? Thanks, mate. And at the top there. Yeah, it is running out a little bit. Thank you. So I'll just pull this end back a little bit because it's running out of square. And I'll just stretch the top of it a bit. Okay, that should help. $410. That's 430, so we still need to stretch that top bit a bit more. No, I'm going to cut that last one, thanks mate. See how we went. 415. 415. Let's see how far we are into the gutters. About 55 mil, which is spot on. Okay, so I'll cut that last sheet and then I'll jump back up here and lay it. So from the center of the underlap, 430 mil. It's there, and I'll just cut down the length of that sheet with my tin snips. There we go. Okay, I'll hop back up there and screw that down, and I'll take my turn-up tool with me. So this is a very important part of laying the Trimdek sheets. This end here will turn the bottom of the sheet down, so it causes a drip edge, and that end there we turn the top of the Trimdek sheets up, so that once we put the barge capping on, we don't get any wind-driven rain blowing up underneath the sheets. That once we've stop-ended the sheets, that should stop the water from blowing up. Another thing you want to remember when you're walking on Trimdek sheets is you want to walk where the battens are underneath you, because if you stand in between, they can be quite weak, the ribs of the Trimdek. If you put too much weight between where the battens are in the middle there, you will dint the sheet, which is something to keep in mind, and it won't look very good once it's got dints all through it. Doesn't look like I'm marked where the batten was. first. There we go. Okay. So basically I'm going to show you how to turn the sheets down at the bottom here and turn the sheets up at the top, but I'm not going to put all the, well, maybe I should. I'll show you how to screw it off as well. I'll chalk out the bottom row and I'll put all the screws in the bottom row just to show you how to do that. And you do basically the same in the two middle rows. You don't put any screws at the top yet. You wait until you've laid your barge capping and then you put your screws through the top of the barge capping. So when you're turning the sheets down, you want to keep your foot near the end of the sheet to keep it stable. Make sure it's all the way in, then just turn it down like that. Now it doesn't matter if you tear the sheets on the corners here. When you're turning it down, the more you've turned it down, the better. But it does matter up the top end when you stop ending them. You want to make sure you don't rip the sheets at the top end. When we turn them up, just be careful you don't tear the sheets. So just turn it up nice and slowly. If you haven't got one of these turn-up tools, you can actually do all this with your pliers, but it'll take a fair bit of time. One thing I probably should mention is if you were doing a clear roof, like a polycarb roof or a fiberglass, you wouldn't be able to use this because the sheets won't let you do it. They're too soft. So you need to use the foam infill strips underneath the barge capping, which will close off the ends. But down the bottom there, you won't be able to use anything. Okay. Bring me the chalk line over, please. Thank you. Just through the center of the batten there. So I'll just put the screws in this bottom edge. As I said before, with your two middle ones, you want to do exactly the same. You want to put a screw in every rib, except for your end ones there, which once you put your barge capping over it, then you'll screw through it.
one out now.
A special thanks to Jen from Lysarts for supplying the Trimdek sheets for us to be able to bring you this video today. Thanks, Jen. Your help and support you have given us has been great. To all the people watching, I hope this video gives you the confidence to be able to tackle a small roofing project such as this one. If we have brought you any value today, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. I'm Darren from Metal Roofing Online, and thanks for watching.